Adding more power to your system will always make it sound better, not to mention louder. If you're looking to add a decent amount of power to your stock system, or you want to build a nice entry-level system without breaking the bank, don't go anywhere. We'll be looking at JVC's KS-DR3005D, which is a 5-channel amp designed to run a full audio system. Hey, what's up? It's Josh from Breakers Stereo and Performance. Welcome to the YouTube channel that reviews, demos, and goes over the latest in aftermarket audio accessories like car audio, performance, suspension, and more, because we don't drop stock. And if you're like us where stock just doesn't cut it, join the Breakers Upgrade Nation and subscribe to this channel. All right, hit the button, do it now. Adding an amp doesn't always have to be tricky or super expensive. JVC has made it easy to add more power to your car's audio system with this amplifier. This JVC amp has great features like built-in high-level inputs so you can add it to a factory radio, and variable crossover settings that will allow for better audio control over your speakers. But we'll go over all the great features here in a moment. We'll be doing a complete review on this amplifier that includes going over all the features, unboxing, power testing, a pros and cons list, and finally our overall rating. Okay, so let's start with the features. Of course, this is a 5-channel amplifier. 50 watts times 4 RMS at 4 ohms. If you drop it down to 2 ohms, you'll get 65 watts times 4. Now you're gonna definitely want to load that 5th channel down to 2 ohms to get that 300 watts RMS. Now these ratings are CTA 2006 compliant, so these are actual ratings. This also is a D-class amp, so it's gonna be smaller than an AB class amp with the same power. Now don't worry if you don't understand some of these terms I'm about to mention. We'll go over the meanings when I do the unboxing. Variable high pass filtering, 50 Hz to 200 Hz, 12 dB octave on the front and rear channels, and a variable low pass filter for the subwoofer, 50 Hz to 200 Hz on an 18 dB octave. This has a fixed subsonic filter at 20 Hz and a variable bass boost from 0 up to 18 dB at 45 Hz on the subchannel. Other features include RCA and speaker level inputs. Also signal sensing turn on for your speaker level inputs. Fuse rating is 60 amps total. Now the wiring and hardware are not included, and an 8-gauge power and ground is recommended. The dimensions are 13 and 7/16 on the width, 2 and 1/16 on the height, and 7 and 5/16 on the depth. This amp is designed and engineered in Japan. So this isn't some cheap Chinese amp where JVC assembled the best amp they could by picking parts off the list in a Chinese factory. No, this amp is designed from the ground up by Japanese sound engineers to produce a good sounding, reliable amplifier. As a note, this amp can be purchased on our website. Just click the link in the description below and that'll take you directly to the product page. Now we do offer many financing options so you can get what you want now and pay later. Okay, so let's do the unboxing. All right, so let's check this thing out. All right, so not much here. You have your owner's manual. This is your speaker level input. So if you're wiring it up to the factory radio, or if you don't want to use low level inputs off your aftermarket radio, you can do that too. Now there are some benefits there. If you do that, number one is you will reduce any type of engine noise that you will get otherwise. And another thing is a lot of times you can get more output through that high level input as well, okay? So I've never really talked about it on this channel, but you can definitely do that. It's definitely more work to do that versus just plugging in some RCAs, okay? So there's that plug I'm talking about. And then you got some mounting hardware. So here's the amplifier. You have your speaker outputs, your power and your ground, your remote. Now it's an 8-gauge power and ground that's being recommended by JVC. And then you also have all your crossovers here. Okay, so we have our RCA inputs here. We have a front, rear, and sub, 6-channel total. The high-level input plug is gonna plug into there. You have your front gain, and then your crossover mode here, either off or high pass. If you go over here, you have your crossover settings, and you can go as low as 50, up to 200. Now, those of you that are not familiar with crossovers, this will eliminate a lot of the lower frequencies going to your interior speakers, in this case, your front channel. So because you have the sub, you're gonna wanna reduce the amount of bass that the front speakers can play. That way you can turn it up louder. Now, if you're not such a volume guy and you don't want to blast it, then you can probably go a little bit lower on the frequency to get more mid bass. But those of you guys that really like a lot of bass, I recommend setting the crossover point around 100, 150. If you got some speakers that really can't handle a lot of bass, you are gonna probably have to go about 200. And if the speaker really can't handle a lot of bass, you may have some problems here because that's as high as this will go. Next, we have the rear. Basically, we have the same settings here. We have our sensitivity or gain, crossover, on or off, high pass or off. And then the crossover filter, same frequencies, 50 to 200. And then your input mode, you can either do 5-channel or 4-channel. So let's say you have a aftermarket radio and it only has 4-channel output. Then you would just want to go ahead and hit that 4-channel. And then that means it's just going to accept signals from these 4 channels. If your radio does have front, rear, and sub outputs, then you're going to want to go ahead and hit 5-channel. That way it activates all 6 of these outputs. If you're running your high-level input, you're only going to have front and rear. So you're going to make sure you're just going to set that to 4-channel. And then the gain for your 5th channel is here. You have a bass boost that's set up at 45 hertz that you can adjust from 0 to 18. So that's going to give you a nice boost at that 45 hertz level, which is a good frequency to boost in the car for songs that have a lot of bass. And your crossover points are actually the same as your high pass, so variable from 50 hertz up to 200, which is a nice range. Also on the slope for your sub, this is going to be 18 dB per octave, so that's going to be a nice steep slope versus the front and the rear, which are 12 dB. So not as steep of a slope. Okay, so let me explain that slope really quick. So on the slope, that's where the crossover will start, and then it will slope downward. Now, the steeper the slope, the more accurate this will be. But a lot of times when we're tuning systems, we're not looking to have the most steep slope. We do want the speaker to actually pick up some of those other frequencies as well, just not as intense. Okay, so let's go ahead and dyno this amp to see what kind of power we get out of it. We'll use the SMD AMM1 to test one of the 4 channels using a 1000 hertz sound wave. Okay, so right under 50 watts. Now we'll test the 5th channel using a 50 hertz sound wave running off a 12-inch sub. Okay, so we got 280 watts, so a little short of that 300. Okay, pros and cons, starting with the pros. Designed and engineered in Japan, this is a good sounding amp. This amp has been around for several years, and we've installed countless amounts of these in cars, and they do sound really good. Subsonic filter. Plug-in high-level inputs, auto turn-on, and on to the cons. Okay, I'm gonna get a little picky, but it's only because I hope JVC is listening, so maybe if they release a new version of this, they can include these things. Not high enough on the high-pass crossover points. I would like to see high-pass crossovers a little higher than 200 hertz. I would say 400 would be good. Because keep in mind, you're not going to be matching this up with a set of $500 audio speakers that can reproduce low frequencies at high volumes. It's more than likely to match it up with a set of speakers that aren't going to do as good with lower frequencies at higher volumes, and no remote subwoofer level control. On the overall rating, we're going to give this a 4.25 stars. This is a good sounding Japanese engineered amp that has some nice features at a good price. To find out more or to purchase this amplifier, we'll leave a link in the description below, taking you directly to the product page. Remember about our financing? Simply add to cart, pick a financing option, get approved, and we'll send your gear out to you ASAP. Make sure to look for us for all your aftermarket automotive needs, especially in-car audio, and includes performance, suspension, accessories, and more, because we don't drive stock. Join the Upgrade Nation and subscribe to this channel, and make sure you like this video. Okay, I'm done. This is Josh from Breaker Stereo and Performance. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.